Welcome to Nostalgia Pilots, a Mobile Fighter G Gundam podcast that just hasn't been the same since we saw that clown. I'm Hugh.
I'm Jurd.
I'm Jason.
Vince is not here out of protest because clowns, and I don't blame them.
Oh, it's not just the clowns. This episode goes bad all the way down. This is a rotten to the core episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of mommy issues, a lot of weird dynamics, like people getting sung lullabies to victory, I guess. Like, it's
no, save the song because we need to talk about the difference between the sub and the dub down the road on that.
Yes, we do.
First, we opened with George in a fight with a clown, which immediately...
Before we get going, this is episode 31, Dazzling Power of the Clown. Get mad, Maxter.
And we immediately start out with a bits attack. An attack with
right.
bits.
So we definitely... This does follow the last episode where, like, we see one of the other 5 guys fighting this character of the week, and they get their ass kicked again. But this time it's George.
Yeah, and it doesn't turn out to be Domon, who is kind of the resolution, which I did have a note here saying, I'm not sure I like this pattern of a friend losing and then the turnaround, and it's usually Domon that turns around. This time it's Chibodee, and it's so weird.
So here's a question. Is this tournament double elimination, round robin? Like, how does it work? Because how do these guys lose? And then the guy who they beat goes fight somebody else, but somehow they're still in the tournament.
Well, I think the rule is that if you can repair your Gundam, you can stay in.
Basically, if your head explodes, you're out.
So it's a battle of attrition? Like, whose country's got the most cash?
Pretty much.
That's an extra bummer considering last week's episode where everyone's having to, like, waitress on the side to keep their Gundam running.
Yeah,
or when 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. And I think that would actually explain why they mentioned that they were leaving because their country was poor and didn't have the money. So I'm guessing that's why they left.
But let's not even talk about the stupidity of having to fund these things, because this episode we decide this Gundam's funding his habit via working as a circus clown. Just a straight up side job as a circus clown.
Yeah.
So we've seen waitresses, we've seen chefs, we've seen now clowns. We've also seen, like, Shaolin Temple assassin as a profession. Like, At this point, I'm just waiting for street magician.
Well, this guy pretty much is all of that tropes, because basically they treat clown as a martial art, but it's an evil martial art.
Yeah, it is true. Although, on that note, I do want to see the Uber driver who uses his Gundam to drop off meals between fights.
Oh my God!
It's the gig economy, people.
I need a like mini Gundam series, like maybe 3 episodes, like, and it's just about the rideshare Gundam pilot.
So George gets his butt kicked in a fight, and it's very obvious off the top what the sort of twist or the trope here is going to be, because George even says, basically he's using my own attack against me, although I will make a note here that George is taking clown balls to the face in this one. But anyway.
Okay, and before we get any further, I do want to say that I like the design of the Jester Gundam. Like, it is very cool and robotic.
Yeah, it's definitely better than some of the comedy like, it's a little less comedy town in a weird way than some of the previous Gundams we've seen in recent episodes.
And it also kind of has a feel of how you would look for, like, a Jester. Almost like if Knights from the old Sega game had a mobile suit.
Right. Yeah, that's sort of what it reminds me of. Because it's like sort of like it's designed like a Jester's face with the hat, and then there's a Gundam head on top of it. And it's sort of like it has like the 2 sort of like protrusions are the arms, and then there's 2 more that can come out at the bottom in our legs. And they're sort of like just made of flexible bands. So they can do all sorts of like weird things like change shape and like tie up the opponent, and like there's a lot of cool stuff that this mobile suit does because it doesn't look very human.
Yeah, it also feels like something that could be not necessarily a Gunpla kit, but like an actual toy could be translated out of this thing. special.
Oh yeah, like I feel like, and I don't think it would cost a lot to make it too, because we've got so many examples of like a clown or a jester, that, and it's only like basically some triangles and such.
Now, the only confusing part is that this does kind of weirdly play into the whole card shuffle alliance thing. Like at first I was like, oh, the Jester, is he, part of like, but no. It's just, he's a weird clown with a clown fetish. He's basically John Wayne Gacy in a robot suit. So he's got a side job as a clown.
Psychic powers, maybe?
Yeah. So he's got a side job as a clown because he's got to fund his Gundam, I guess. And everybody decides that, okay, the best way to find this guy and get the inside scoop on his techniques is to go to the circus. And this episode is another one. There is a very Domon moment, but it is another episode where Domon's basically like a side character, and I prefer when Domon's not the main character of the show. He's a much cooler guy.
Right, Domon is good in this episode. Like, Domon doesn't do anything wrong.
There is one moment that I was like, oh, there he is. There's the old Domon. But we'll get there in a second. So even at first, it's kind of funny because so Chibodee shows up with the ladies, his pit crew, and they're sort of like, Chibodee's like, I hate this place, which makes sense given his history. And they're like, no, we've got to, scope out the enemy. And that's when Rain and Domon also show up, having exactly the same idea. And there's kind of a funny line when Domon's like, let's be good, boys, and check on this guy. And he's being kind of like the pally big brother character all of a sudden, which I liked a lot better than his usual attitude.
Like, and there's also a scene where, like, Bunny just kind of, like, gloms onto Domon and is hanging off him. And Rain doesn't say anything. She just gives her a look. Yeah,
and that's an interesting turnaround with what happens with the rest of this episode, because I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then the thread between Rain and Chibodee, the rest of the episode, is kind of interesting, like, to play off that point. Mm-hmm. So they are inspecting the clown, who's just doing clown things, and they're like, oh, this must be the fighter. This is definitely him.
Well, he starts out, like, doing, like, an acrobat routine where he, like, falls and then he lands on another thing. And Domon's like, his muscular control is so good.
Yeah.
Like, one of the threads that runs through a lot of Gundam, because it's just a lot of hot boys saying a lot of questionable things to one another, that line about his muscle control is so intense. Like, what? Like, wait, what? But I will say, like my theory has been since the beginning, Chibodee should be with Rain. Like, their connection in this episode is like, I feel like somebody in the writer's room was like, we can make this happen. And somebody's like, you can't have the main character lose this lady. Not to the American.
No, you know what, though? So this is me coming in as the newbie, and Spence isn't here this episode with good reason. So I'm going to have to hold the newbie side of the board here. When you introduced Allenby in episode 30, and then you have the Chibodee Rain question in episode 31, there is a sense that, like, oh yeah, maybe Rain and Chibodee could get together, and then Domon and Allenby, who are clearly like the same sides of the coin, or two different sides of the same coin, could also, anyway.
Yeah, and they vibe. Like, they had a much more obvious, like, connection than Rain and Domon, because Rain and Domon are complete opposites. Rain is strategic, she's thoughtful, she's kind, and Domon's just kind of a douche nozzle most of the time.
Right. And I mean, if Allenby could just give a little of that back to Domon, that's a much more interesting arc. And also to have, sort of the two destined characters be like, you know what, maybe this isn't working out. Maybe this isn't the best for us. That would be an interesting match. No, I don't actually expect that's going to happen. I think in the end they're going to make
it. Yeah. Like, we only get that in one series that I can think of, and it's Ghost in the Shell. It's the Major and Bato. Like, those are the only two characters that I know have, like, a relationship that with one twist of the knob would be a romantic relationship, and you'd be very happy for it to be that. Or it could just be how it is, be purely platonic, and they just send jabs at each other.
Hey, listen. The Major and Bato can't get together because Bato is meant to be with Togusa, and I will not hear anything else about it.
No, I totally, yeah.
Listen, it's why you only see him link up psychically with the internet thing with Togusa. Like, you only see him do it with Togusa.
Like, I saw the weird movie sequel to the movie that doesn't, like, impact any other Ghost in the Shell stuff. We all know how this goes.
Oh, Innocence?
Innocence.
Listen, one of my favorite Ghost in the Shell moments is in Innocence. It's when the Major's in that porcelain doll and Bato's just giving her shit for it. It's one of my favorite moments. But I digress. You only can get a platonic relationship of that nature in Ghost in the Shell. Like, because in these shonen shows, the burning passion hero has to have his love interest. And he dang sure can't have it taken away from him by the brash boxing American.
Right.
Right. And okay, so even if we have managed to imply a little off script here, Domon gets right back on it because while they're in the middle of the circus act, the clown starts imitating what he's doing. And rather than be like, hey, I'm at a circus and this is a funny thing that the clown is doing, he immediately gets super pissed and starts an unnecessary fight.
Well, no, see,
But it's
in the sub, Domon's sort of like, yeah, we're going to have a fun fight. This will be fun. Like, this is Domon's version of kidding around, because the clown challenges him. Like, the clown's like, come at me.
And I do like that George is watching, and George is like, wait, is that Domon's move? And I'm just saying, like, if your clown kung fu allows you to copy your opponent's most powerful moves, like, you should be winning, right? Like, you should just be winning this thing. Like, because that means they have nothing they can throw at you that you don't know is coming. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, but I also questioned, like, how he copies, like, George and stuff. Like, how does he copy Rose bits? Oh, wait, the clown balls. Never mind.
The clown balls. Right. Well, that was my question, too, because he gives him not in a suit or anything, just in standard clown mode, he gives him the burning finger, and Domon explodes in the middle of the, like, ring. And then he just jumps back and he's fine. But he explodes. He did explode.
Like, I think that it was just supposed to be, like, he somehow knew Domon was coming and had, like, a trick glove that was filled with confetti.
Yeah, I tried to be clown business, but... so there was also a moment there where it seemed to harken back to Domon's earlier injury. They didn't really seem to mention it the rest of the episode, but there was, like, the arm hurt thing going on for a minute there. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I find it very interesting, like, because we've seen characters, specifically Domon, fight mobile suits without being in a mobile suit. So the fact that this clown was like, hey, watch this, shining, and hits him with the thing, I'm like, that tracks, because we've seen Domon catch bullets from a Gundam while he was not in a mobile suit. So I think this clown could hit him with that thing, and I definitely thought, like, maybe it was going to be like, he hits Domon with the shining finger or the burning finger or whatnot, and then Domon has to, like, go train with that rusted sword somewhere and get a stronger version to beat the imitation burning finger.
Yeah, but is this clown off somewhere training with a rusty rubber chicken or something? Like, I don't know. Anyway.
I want to see that. Like, I need to.
You have to cut the waterfall with the rubber chicken.
Yeah, you have to do it without there being a honk. There must be no honk. Anyway.
Well, you know, we never see the ninja clown that, like, is tormenting him.
Oh, would he be a
clown, brother?
Would he be a German ninja clown, or would he be something else? Like, he's I don't know, like
he's a mime. He's definitely a mime.
He's clearly a mime, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, this is a missed opportunity. George could have fought a mime and lost, and come to find out that it's just this guy being different my friend, clowns.
No, clearly not, because George is already the Gundam from France. So where else is the mime going to come from?
Right.
Oh, that's true.
Well, do we have a Neo-Belgian fighter?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just a giant goddamn waffle, so...
It's a very delicious-looking waffle.
Okay, so they're at the circus, and Chibodee has a freak out, and it's pretty justified, because this is Pennywise, like, as a Gundam fighter. Like,
yeah.
They quickly go away from, like, clown hijinks to, like, I'm gonna murder your children.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, the next scene where, like, Chibodee is asleep and maybe he has a nightmare, or maybe this guy is it. We don't know. We never really get a backstory for Romario Manini.
Yeah, there is definitely implication. But Banks, surely you were thinking of Salem's Lot when the scene came up.
Look, I was like, did these guys read a couple Stephen King before they came in here? Like, the clown goes from, like, menacing sort of to immediately like, hi, I'm in your dreams tormenting your children and I will slaughter them. I will slaughter them all for their souls. Like,
I am hovering outside your window like a vampire. Like, not even really your own skin.
At least.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Like, and they never explain that, ever.
At least with the Shaolin assassin guy who's standing on the, like, leaf in the middle of the lake, he's got weird Shaolin monk training, so, like, you can, you know, wave that off. But how does this clown have the ability to hover? Like, I understand minor illusions, some juggling, whatever, but he's legitimately defying the law of gravity to clone Chibodee.
Chibodee later implies that this clown is using his clown weakness as, like, to get to him. But that's not the impression I get. This clown is clown 24/7. If anything, this clown is using this part to get to him, and it's not even clown-based. So I think it's Chibodee's own projection that's going on there.
Like they do say that he was, like, looking into Chibodee's past. But I'm like, the guy was a clown before this. He just sort of looked into drawing the guy that's scared of clowns.
See, and this is where I think that the Pennywise comes in. Because I feel like he figured out that Chibodee was afraid of clowns, and now he's just leaning into it even more, even though he's clown 24/7. Like, he's now like, I'm going to feed on your feet. Like Chibodee
living that clown life.
Yeah, Chibodee should have went to the store and bought himself a box turtle. Because we all know evil space clowns are defeated by space turtles.
Space turtles. So, meanwhile, the pit crew is concerned about Chibodee's performance. Chibodee's obviously having nightmares, but it's affecting his daytime too. To the point where, and I don't know quite what they said in the sub, but in the dub, somebody says the line, "He hasn't been the same since he witnessed that clown." And just the line, "witnessed that clown," like that's
Well, they needed to match up the dub, the dub, and they couldn't really do that. Like, it was, "he saw the clown," which made sense, but like, we need a longer word. It needs to be a sentence longer.
And you know, I will say though, I do like that they actually are talking about like mental health and trauma, although I don't necessarily know how well they address getting over that trauma. But the fact that, like, you get kidnapped as a child and your mom dies at the hands of the Joker, you're not going to, like, or does she? Dun, dun, dun. Like, you're going to not like clowns. Although I would have also liked it if his answer to clowns has become hyper-aggressive, so he's just punching street clowns.
So, yes.
They're like, oh, Chibodee can't go to the circus. Last time he went there, he beat up 3 mimes.
Yeah. Back on the colony, we were kicked out of like 3 county fairs.
So we do get a flashback explaining why Chibodee has this problem, which is that he and his mother were supposed to get off to a colony shuttle, but just before they went, I guess, they went to a circus, or a cirrus, if you listen to the actual writing on the screen. And at which point they were attacked by clowns with machine guns, which was kind of an awesome visual, actually.
Yeah. So basically, terrorists became clowns so that they could steal the shuttle that Chibodee was supposed to get onto.
Yeah, it was kind of unclear. Like, were they holding? It sounded like they were holding the crowd hostage for maybe money, but then they just shot everybody. Like, it wasn't a well thought through plan.
And my thing is, y'all hit the jackpot, honestly. Like, instead of, forget the shuttle, that's like, you know, that's like messing with the government. They send the army after you. But, like, y'all got a rich kid. Just, y'all got Chibodee. He's rich. Like, just ask for the money and give back the kid and fly away in space. Like,
yeah, we know that Chibodee is rich, not just because they're going to go to the colony, but he's wearing a bow tie.
Yes! Oh, my God. This kid, Chibodee, reminds me of the little kid ghost from, was it Insidious? Is he the Insidious? You know,
he looks like the child detective from Case Closed.
Oh, God, he's Detective Conan.
Well, if there's anything I know about rich people, it's that they love carny. So off to the circus they go, and there's a shooting. And then there's a weird line about how Chibodee's like, if my mom is still alive. And you're like, what? What?
Well, you know what? Maybe because she was rich, they put her in one of those frozen in time things that Domon's dad said. and they've got the cure for multiple gunshot wounds from a fully automatic machine gun, but he's got to win the tournament to get it.
Okay, so for clarity, though, in the sub, it also made that same implication. Because to me, it seemed actually like one of those things where it's a kid's show and they're not going to be like, and then my mom was murdered by a clown. So maybe they had to leave the door open just slightly.
Yeah, the implication is that, that they got separated. He was held hostage. We don't see what happens, but, he never saw his mom again, and that's why he was, a feral child living in a sewer when he got scouted in a street fight.
And you would think that, someone as rich as Chibodee would have had, I don't know, a butler, a dad, an aunt, an uncle, anything. Or some evil corporation that wants to control his money, but because he inherited it all, they have to, have the child emperor on the throne as a CEO while the evil assistant is, telling him what to do. You know what I'm saying? And Chibodee's way to fight back was street fights to revolt against the corruption. You know what I'm saying?
So you only visit the circus. I was born. Oh, anyway.
So Chibodee leaves the circus that this clown has lured him to in the middle of the night when everyone shows up, and then Rain, why don't you go talk to him because he's hot for you?
Well, the implication is she's a doctor, so she's actually going to get to use some of her doctor skills. So, and I kind of whatever, but at the same time, there's a heavy implication of Domon and Rain kind of sorting some things out. I know you kind of have things for Chibodee, so maybe you should go hang out with him. There's a lot of that implied in this episode.
So, how many degrees does Rain have? Because she's a medical doctor, and she's a, engineer, but also, is she a therapist? Is she has she got 3 PhDs right now?
No, she is not a real therapist. They're just you're the closest we have to a doctor, you go.
Yeah.
Because, she's doing a lot. She can change the oil, reprogram the Gundam. She can fix up your wounds, and she can sing. Your problem. Yeah, she can sing.
Okay, and so Chibodee tells Rain his tragic backstory, and she brings him a can of water. We know it's water because it says water on the side in a splashy font.
It's like in 80s movies when someone's oh, I'm going to go get a 6-pack, and they come out with a white case and can that just says beer on the side.
But Chibodee says, the one thing that can calm him down is if you sing the song that my mother sang to me. And in the original audio, it's just this kind of, vague Enka sort of ballad about being quietly strong. It's just fine. It's got an aggressive horn part, but they didn't for whatever reason they didn't go with that for the dub.
Yeah,
I watched the subtitles. What was the dubbed version?
Oh my God, you didn't watch the dub. Okay,
no. Here's
my experience. All right.
What is your experience as the Canadian watching this?
I had to Google it. I was like, is this? So Rain breaks into America the Beautiful. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And it just goes on and on. And then, so that was weird. But then, did I miss something? Because there's a weird, she sings to him, and then it's they wake up the next day, and it's kind of maybe they were together? I don't think that's...
Yeah, they definitely fade to black on that scene.
See, this is exactly why I still think Chibodee is supposed to be with Rain. She ends up taking over his pit crew, and he ends up winning the tournament because he has the best pit crew and obviously the best temper.
But we do have a scene where the 2 kids on Domon is waiting up on the boat for Rain, and the 2 kids are debating whether or not Rain and Chibodee are doing it at that moment.
Bro, again, it is why are these children being
Yeah.
Monster Domon.
As weird as it is that these kids are talking about if they're boning or not, I did actually enjoy. Again, this is like Domon as secondary character is so much better. His reaction and the way he plays it off is so much better than main character Domon would have been.
Mm-hmm. Well, he sat in that like restaurant in the rain and Turkey and like ate 5 kebabs, and then he learned something apparently.
So finally we get to the actual fight, and here, as if America the Beautiful wasn't enough to America up this episode, the clown appears, and there's a whole sequence, whatever, and Chibodee's response is sweet. He just pulls out a handgun and starts shooting at the clown. I'm like, okay, now we're in America. Now we're doing it.
Okay, so like, like a rope on a dagger like flies in and like lands at Chibodee's feet, and then like the clown comes in on a tightrope, and on like the Gundam is on the tightrope. Like, how strong is this rope?
Yeah, there was some questions about that as well, actually. Like, how much budget? Maybe you could have upgraded your actual suit for the budget you spent on that rope.
But I do love the fact that the clown comes in and Chibodee's like, oh, screw this, bang, bang, bang. Like, it's just, and because I like it when there's no preamble, right? Like, you know how they jockey and dick wag and talk all this trash before they fight? No. Chippy's like, no, bump that noise. We're going immediately. Right. Because I think also it's out of fear. I think he doesn't want that clown to get any closer.
Like, so maybe I can shoot him before the fight starts.
Exactly.
Okay. So tell me I wasn't the only one, because the fight immediately starts going along the lines that you think it will, right? Like, the clown, the jester, is entirely mimicking every move that Chibodee tries to make. And I just 100% was convinced, okay, the clear answer here is for Chibodee to just punch himself in the face. This is clearly where this is going.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that's what it was going to be. It's going to be that moment where he gets some self-reflection. Kind of how, like, Domon got with the sword and with the burning finger and all that. But no.
That would have been kind of dumb, maybe, but it just got so much weirder than what actually happened. Like, so much. I cannot even believe how this episode played out from here. Because until this point, I was like, oh, this is kind of a weird episode. And then Chibodee has a complete breakdown and just starts weeping for his mom. Like, it is a bit of...
Yeah. And the worst part is his pit crew doesn't... Like, this is why I still think Chibodee and Rain are supposed to be together. Because the pit crew obviously knows the song, but they go to Rain to sing it. So I feel like the pit crew, even they think Chibodee and Rain are together.
Well, like, when Rain sings the song, like, they're listening outside of the hangar. But that only makes sense if it's the song from the dub that they wouldn't, or the sub that they wouldn't know. Like, they all know America the Beautiful.
They're from America.
Which is, for you, Jurd, it is God Save the Queen, but American.
Yeah, I did get it in the end. And it is a hilarious moment when all 4 of them start breaking into it. But
go ahead.
I was just going to say, not quite as hilarious as there's a little moment there. And again, I don't know what it was in the sub. But in the dub, okay, so they start singing and Chibodee starts making his, like, comeback move, right? And he's like, I won't let you treat me like a little boy. And I was like, whoa, what? Where do we almost say here? And it's also a little weird because he's like, mommy, 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 and then they're like, we sang you a song, and he's like, I won't let you treat me like a little boy. Like, the psychology here is getting very unsettling.
Yeah. In the sub, he says something similar, but there is the whole him crying for his mommy thing. And I honestly do not like Rain's reaction to them asking her to sing the song, because she's like, I'm with Neo Japan. I can't help. You're on your own. I'm like, okay, so...
Well, that's just the subtext, though, right? Like, that's totally... She's not deciding that she's not going to back Chibodee. She's deciding that if she's going to bone anybody. I think it maybe has to do with poor performance on the night before. I assume that after that fade to black, she was like, oh, yeah, this is great. Okay, maybe actually I'm going to go back to
Yeah, she's like, I need someone with, like, 100% less mommy issues. There was a lot of weeping.
It took way too long to get this going where I needed it to go. Like,
there was a lot of aftercare I needed to do that I was not there for.
I'm 100% just not into diaper play. It's not you.
Oh, God.
No, he's actually in the suit he wore as a kid. He's in the suspenders of the But no, like, but my thing is, like, how are you going to not help him? Next time Domon is about to get assassinated, I'm going to just tell Chibodee, remember, he's Neo-Japan, you're Neo-America. Don't worry about it, dog. Like,
yeah. I do think there was a level of, like, you guys know the song. You know the goddamn song. It's not like
I think it's sort of like, I helped you last night, but I can't do it while Domon's watching.
So, of course, okay.
Domon's, my cuck senses are tingling. What? Wait, is that boyfriend from the hospital here again? And like, he starts looking for that dude who Rain hung out with in college. Like, oblivious to Chibodee's obvious connection with Rain. Like, I'd watch that. Oh God, Domon.
And so, okay, maybe you can clarify this point for me. So he hears the song, and then he just breaks the clown's face. He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember how to punch a clown," and then he punches the clown. Like,
right?
Was there something?
My punches aren't that weak. Boom.
So what did he say? In the dub? Because in the sub, he says, "This is the real burning fist." And I was like, "Wait a minute." Are you having your own burning finger? Like, but it's a punch?
Yeah, it's his like fiery tornado punch thing that he developed to punch the river that one time.
Because I was like, so are they now just like cribbing off Domon? Like, is Argo gonna have a burning bear hug or something?
I think you can expect a sternly worded letter from Neo Japan's lawyers. I think that.
Yeah, like there's a little infringement there, you know.
There's enough. They've got cereal boxes deals lined up. They've got so much shit going on. They do not need this American stepping in and just claiming it as anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, Master Age is like this technique is the property of the School of the East, and
they send a cease and desist. Please cease and desist all uses of the martial arts school of the undefeated East in America right this moment, because we have patented that technique and that name.
We are setting up dojos in every strip mall in your country as we speak.
I'm just thinking of Cobra Kai.
But we can't just have a reasonable ending where the clown is defeated. We have to have one more upsetting exit mode. So Chibodee punches the clown in the face, and even though he's punching the robot's face, the clown's mask splits in half and falls down, which is apparently how Troa got his half-clown mask.
Do we ever do it?
Was it Troa on it? I had so many moments where I was like, is Troa going to show up in the background of the scene? Do we ever get a reveal on who the clown is? Like, why do we get this weird...
No, he's just weird clown man.
What if the reason why we don't see the face of the clown is because it's Chibodee's mom? Like, what if she's been playing the mom?
What? Like it's the Flashpoint universe?
Yes.
It's a commentary on how two different people react to the same event, right? Like, he took a fear of clowns, but she had to become a clown to defeat them.
Yes, and she wants to make him strong. So it's the Flashpoint universe, like you said. Alfred had to become the Joker, so Master Wayne wouldn't go crazy. So she had to become the clown, so Chibodee would get over his trauma and be a strong Gundam pilot. See, there you go. See, guys, that's all. It's just, it's a shell game. That's a shell game. Because also, I was, from what I remember about the series, I do not think the reveal comes back. I do not think this character comes back.
Or at least he's like a background character, but we don't really see him fight again.
Yeah, I don't think we ever get that callback. We do get some more Allenby, and we get some more of the assassin guy later. There's some of that.
I think that all of the bad guys from these episodes come back, and then Master Age is like, not you guys.
Not you, Clowny.
Yeah, I would have, if you had
develop your own techniques.
So, okay, so we do get all of that, but then one more critical difference between the sub and the dub. It closes out, and Chibodee's like, yeah, I am going to win this championship. I have to do it for my family, and that's the dub. But in the sub, the much more upsetting line, I have to win it for my 4 mommies. And you're like, no!
Oh, God. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, and this is a kid's show? Holy crap. I have to win it for my 4 mommies.
See, he is like Steven Universe.
Oh, wow. But Steven Universe is sweet and innocent and kind and not sexual in any way, shape, or form. But I definitely think Chibodee's got a lot going on over there. Oh, man. Like, whew. I want to know how that made it past the season. Like, how that made it past, like, anyone. Like, so, like, I'm just loving somebody doing the subtitles for this. And
well, actually,
4 mommies.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, I know that's why the dub got fixed, because they were like, no, that's not flying. But another moment that we totally skipped over is during Chibodee's freakout, he ends up hitting one of the pit crew, and that was not cool. Like Janet comes to bring him a cloth, and he's just like, he goes to like bat it away, and he bats her across the face. Yeah, and they never really addressed that, but I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they're like, he's not himself. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I think that in the end, that's the scene that doesn't fly in modern television, is like your main dude slapping a lady.
Yeah, if this was a show where they talked about trauma and like disassociation and things of that nature, like I could see that being a part of it and like a part of what makes him like get over the trauma, and like a scene where he apologizes and like makes amends and things. But like this is just one of those happens, and like it just the show moves on from there. Like, and she doesn't even seem upset or bothered by it, or like no one talks about it. Like the other girls don't say anything really. Like it's a weird little scene, and just like to finish out a very weird episode.
Yeah, I mean, she's just, I don't know. She's coming forward. She's offering like support and whatever, and he like slaps her. But then later on, we're like, Amber Waste of Grain, Purple Mountain Majesties, and he's like, yeah, everything's good now. Like, it just, anyway. I guess I shouldn't be reading into the psychology of this clown-based assassin show.
No, because the psychology of this series is: have you punched a bigger person than you? Didn't that make you feel better?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, this episode did have a lot of like someone punching someone and then them like meeting that fist with their fist, and then there's fire in the background, which is a thing I always like that this show does.
Listen, what is it? Tempo Curia. And then I can't remember what the other half of it is. And then they just start punching at each other as their only faces and fists.
Because that's so much easier to animate.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, there's a few parts where they went into Chun-Li mode just to make it easier to animate, but yeah.
Yeah, they're moving so fast the animators can't keep up.
Oh, man.
So does that bring us to our favorite moments?
Yeah.
I suppose.
If there is any, like.
Okay, no. My favorite moment is a hypothetical, but you got to follow me down the path a little bit. So these last few episodes, they really haven't been very Domon-centric at all, right? Because we're getting like the rest of the Shuffle Alliance, and we're getting a little more backstory on them. And so in that sequence when Domon jumps in the ring and like starts the fight with a clown and then is exploded, I thought for just half a second, wouldn't this be a fascinating twist for this show? Like the main character is off by a clown at a circus, and they've got to go on from there. And they've got to go back to Master Asia and be like, all right, listen, I know our leader was just killed by a clown, but we're still going to kick your ass. And then how is Master Asia going to feel about that? Like, it's so much more complicated to the show.
Like,
anyway.
A clown? Like, so the clown is now?
King of Hearts?
Oh my god! And then they've got to deal with a clown, and imagine Chibodee is like, I got to take orders from this clown.
And also, there's already a Jester in the Shuffle Alliance. There's what is it, Black Joker, I think it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's already one. Like
I will say there's a branding problem here because riddle me this: which one of them is the Black Joker or whatever?
Black Joker was the Russian lady with the whip. So yeah, I guess Argo.
Did it go to Argo? Did it go to Argo? Because Domon's King of Hearts.
Domon's King of Hearts. Chibodee is Queen the Spade.
Saisashi is.
I think he's.
No, George is the knight. George is
the Jack of Diamonds.
Yeah, it is Argo. Argo does.
And then
I guess he gets.
Saisashi's Club Ace.
Yeah.
So, but guys, I've noticed something we do a lot. We find ways to kill Domon off so we can just see Rain pilot the Gundam. Like, we've made multiple alternate stories at multiple points to the first 31 episodes of the show where we're like, yeah, if he died here and Rain took over.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with you that it's kind of hilarious that we're doing that, but we're not the only ones. The writers are writing different Domons into the show. They're like, oh, we can't even stand this man. No, he's not going to be the main character for a while, and every time he appears on screen, he's not going to be like anything like the character we've established him to be.
Oh my God, he's like in Everything Everywhere All at Once. He's just hopping from different domos in different dimensions. So it's just, there actually are different domos. He's like, I need one that's more romantic. And let me put on my shoes backwards and kick my nose. And he becomes a more soft and like compassionate Domon. I'd watch that. I would have to say my favorite part is Chibodee's flashback because it's so Batman it hurts. Like being kidnapped by a clown and your mom killed, quote unquote, at the circus. Like it's so bad.
I also thought it was very Akira.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, with the clown gang.
There is like a brief sequence in which a clown is holding what looks very much like a Thompson machine gun, and he's got the kid. And I was like, wow, this is pretty Batman the Animated Series right here. But I totally see what you mean about Akira too.
Why does Chibodee not ride a motorcycle? Why is he not James Deaning it up? You know, like, because he's got the convertible thing or whatever. But I feel like if you're gonna be the American, like, they'd have you riding that motorcycle or something. But yeah, but that's my favorite part. Chibodee's Batman origin story.
Okay, listen, if Chibodee rode a motorcycle, then you would have to construct a Gundam-sized motorcycle that the Gundam could also ride, and I'm just not going that far down the chain.
Listen, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You still ain't seen the horse, dog. Just wait.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to go with the design on the Jester Gundam and the way it's animated, because I just love the sort of the way it, like, its legs can like disappear and its arms can transform into like helicopter blades, and it can like throw out little rings, and it does that thing where it looks like a JRPG boss where it's like a head, like a tiny head on a larger body that's also a head.
I think they got the design for the nobodies from Kingdom Hearts from this guy.
Like, honestly, it looks almost like a clown version of the Devil Gundam.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Or at least the little Gundam out of the head of the Devil Gundam.
And I just think it looks cool, and it clearly is like versatile, so it can do a whole bunch of different things. So I'd have liked to have seen them do more with it than look at this creepy clown person, especially like with the way that so many of the other Gundams look very stiff.
It would have also, I think it would have been really awesome for, like, if the clown comes back, that like Chibodee has to train with him. Like kind of how like in Rocky had to train with Apollo to learn how to fight he had to learn how to move and dance. He couldn't just take punches all the time. Like, and so Chibodee has to learn something from the clown martial arts.
No, listen. I don't need a fight like a clown montage. I don't need him like honking noses and then like seltzer waddle and then it's just all translating it. You know, like wax on, wax off, and then all of a sudden he realizes if he just uses the seltzer in an actual fight or whatever, like, no.
Like, is that any more silly than trying to cut a tree down with a rusted sword from a German ninja?
Well, yeah. I think that, like, the Jester Gundam definitely does have, like, the sort of the Shang Tsung, the Mokujin, sort of like the fighting game character that can be any character.
Yeah. And I think,
feel to it.
But yeah, like, oh man.
They're definitely invoking some very classic kind of clown Jester tropes. Like, I think that's why they lean on Jester and not just clown, because it's got,
Yeah, the court Jester sort of thing. Yeah, I think that's it. We've gotten through all the mommy issues and the clown issues. And we got sighting of George this week.
Yep. And
not too bad an episode.
Next week we'll have more people back because we're going to be looking at episode 32, Dangerous Trap. Nero's Gundam Strikes Back.
Oh, that's what, the first one?
Yeah, so it is the return of Mikelo Chariot.
Yes, Mikelo, nice. I do think that that episode will start kicking off the downhill trot towards the end of the show because we now start seeing the reoccurring characters.
Thanks for watching. You can find all of our show notes at nostalgiapilots.com. Find everything I do at hughjodonald.com.
You can find everything I do over at skinner.fm.
Find everything I do at nerdswithvoices.com. And I'm also on Nutty Bites or in textbooks at VCU. It's fun.
And Spence can be found at resonantmoon.com and Fibromancers for Hire. That's the Fibromancers, the number for hire. And next week we'll be looking at episode 32, but until then,
Jason, sing "O Canada" for me.